I got about 25 pages in, and I know that's not a lot, but this is a dual POV book. And I read the first perspective and I was like, okay, not my favorite, but maybe I could do it. And then I started to get into the second perspective and I don't care at all. I'm not interested. And so I'm thinking I already might DNF my first book of my challenge, which is a little disappointing, but at the same time means that I'm moving faster. So yeah, I'm gonna DNF. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stick to what I said I'm gonna do, which I think I really undersold it. I rewatched the video explaining my reading goals for this year, and I think I was a little too nonchalant about me DNFing books. I truly think I'm gonna DNF a lot of these books. There are so many books to read in the world, and a lot of these books have sat on my shelf for up to 3-4 years. And I haven't read them yet, and I give them a decent chance, and nothing jumps out to me. I think that I should respect my time and energy and just move on. So I'm gonna DNF. One down. Hello, this morning I finished The Wife by Meg Wolitzer off of my TBR shelf. I gave this 2.5 stars. It was a very average book for me. I almost DNF'd it, but I feel like it was so short that I just wanted to get it done so that I didn't keep DNFing things since I already DNF'd something. So that's getting a 2.5 stars. I'm gonna unhaul it, and we are officially done with the first book of the year off of my TBR shelf. So the count is now 2 out of 90. So I finished Creatures. I listened to it on audiobook. I rented it from the library, and it was okay. I won't keep the copy of it, which I think says enough in and of itself. I'll probably give it 3 stars. It hovers between that and a 2.5. I think the thing that made it most interesting is, you know, when someone talks about something passionately and they know a lot about it and they care a lot about it, it makes you care more about it too. And that's how I felt about the author and the narrator's knowledge of the sea and her work as a fisherman in this small town on this small island off of the coast of California. But besides that, I think the narrative wasn't that original. What made it original was it's jumping in time. We start on her wedding day or the day before her wedding day, and then we do some flashbacks, we do some flash forwards, we come back, we jump around, and I generally like that in movies and especially in television, but I don't know how I feel about it yet in books. I think the jury's still out there. So that one was okay. Then I tried to start a children's Bible by Lydia Millet, and I picked it up because it was very popular when I worked at Barnes & Noble. This was in 2020 during the pandemic. And it's a great cover, a great title, but I couldn't get into it, and I got like 40 pages in. So we're moving on with the DNFing. I told you I'm going to be serious about this. So that is 4 out of 90 done. It's almost the end of February, so we're a little off track, but we're still moving. Future sickly Kelsey here. I never let you guys know that I finished Kingdoms of Savannah. I gave it a 3.5 on Letterboxd, which is not true. And I also didn't give it a 3.5 on Goodreads because they don't have half stars. I gave it a 3.5 in my Google Sheets that I have created. And I enjoyed it. I think it was a little slow at times. I definitely got stuck. But for the most part, I really love the lore of Savannah. Sam lives there, so it's very close to my heart. And I loved being able to picture a lot of the places they were in and know a lot of the, like, current events that he talked about in the book, such as, like, the unhoused situation there. Those are things that Sam has talked to me about since moving to Savannah. And so I think I really, really enjoyed it because of my personal knowledge of Savannah and being able to picture everything. I don't know if the book would have worked well for someone who wasn't familiar with Savannah, but I enjoyed my time reading it. I was excited to get it done. I think its main fault was that it should have been a script, which I don't know how often I think that when I read a book. Sometimes I watch movies and I think, oh, I probably would have liked the book better. But this one in particular, for some reason, I was reading it and I think it would have been a fabulous screenplay. I would love to see a movie about this set in Savannah, which they do a lot of filming there, so I feel like it could be possible in the future, as this author has also had books of his in the past be made into movies. But as a book, it didn't really help it for some reason. I don't know if it was like it made the dialogue more robotic or if he was just like I don't know like how to explain that. It just would have been better as a screenplay in my opinion, but I enjoyed it. I'm happy to have it on my shelf, and that marks 5 out of 90. I'm struggling. This is beautifully written, but it's written in the style of almost like journal entries. It's these like short moments throughout this woman's life that are separated by the titles of knowing, remembering, becoming, and being. And it's a beautiful way to tell the story of growing up. This is specifically from the perspective of a woman growing up in a place of violence that eventually moves with her family to France and finding her identity between those two places, as well as struggling with identifying herself as being gay, and how all of those pieces fit together, along with her tumultuous relationship with her parents. And I think it's written in a structured way that I generally seem to like. I think the books that I read this year by Annie or No are very similar, where it's just kind of stream of consciousness journal writing, and I find it very beautiful, but there's something in the way that her voice is written that I can't seem to get into, and I'm struggling to know if it's like a headspace that I'm in, and that I need like a fiction book with a plot and something to keep moving, and that's what's kind of boring me, or if it's something that I should DNF. And I don't want to DNF, especially since this is pretty short and I'm already 50 pages in and it's only 175. So I could get through this relatively quickly, but I feel like none of it is totally sinking in, or isn't something that I feel like I'll keep with me long term. I think I would get rid of the book when I finished it, and so I'm kind of stuck in the idea of these last 2 books that I've read that ended up being 2.5s and 3s, and I didn't keep the copies. It's like, okay, is it worth reading even if you know that that's going to be the case a quarter of the way into it? And I'm really struggling specifically with this one. I don't know why. I guess just because it's usually something that I would like. So I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna put my bookmark in it and set it aside and come back to it maybe after a book or 2, and if I'm still disinterested in it, then I'll DNF it. Even though I know I'm sitting here right now and I'm like, I don't want to come back to it, but that seems like, I don't know, I just don't want to keep DNFing things, even though I know that's the purpose of what I'm trying to do. I think I'm gonna DNF. I think I know my answer, I just feel bad about it. I need to DNF. I need to do it. So that's what, 5 out of 90? 6 out of 90? And I've read 3. Not my favorite stat, but the point is to get rid of my TBR, hyping myself up. Hello, I'm sickly and have been feeling a little uninspired or disappointed by my reads so far for the year. As you have seen, I've had many DNFs, and then 2 of the books that I've read off my shelf were just like fine. I enjoyed Kingdoms of Savannah, but I kept getting stuck while reading it, and I just needed like a good read, you know. And Sam just read Piranesi for her book club and gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, and her review included a lot of all caps and exclamation marks. And so I picked it up immediately off of my shelf. I have tried to start it before, and I got so stuck in the first couple pages because I just could not understand what was going on, which I realize now, about 90 pages into it, that that's kind of the point, is that you have to completely like fall into this world to, I don't know, get started. There's just like no other way to do it other than to just like let you drop right into it. So anyways, so I started it yesterday. I read 70 pages. I would have read more, except the Oscars were yesterday, so I spent most of the day watching that and the red carpet and on Twitter and TikTok and Letterboxd and whatnot. But anyways, I got into it super quickly, picked it up again today, and my eyes cannot read fast enough. It's one of those books that like I want to know what happens so badly that I cannot possibly read with the ferocity that I would like to, because I want to know so badly. So anyways, all of that to say, it's going very well so far. I can only imagine if she's been this good at like setting up the world. She's got to be amazing at pulling it all together, would have to be my guess. And so I'm so happy to pick something up that's new to me and like really love it, and fall in love with it. So I'm hoping that this will kickstart another good reading streak, because I was
I was feeling really, really down and out with my last couple of books that I've picked up. So that's my update on Piranesi. Hello, I am still sick, so I had enough time yesterday to finish Piranesi, and by had enough time, I mean I had no other option, because I had to know what happened. I could not stop reading. It was so phenomenal. I gave it 5 stars. There were so many things that I absolutely loved about it, and I'm not gonna get into anything to do with the plot, because I truly think not only do I not want to like give something away, but I also think that it's truly best just to like fall into it, plop down into the world, and not know anything about it. But as far as the genre, I just love so much. It was such a blend of so many things, and some things I don't like very much, some things I'm learning to get into, some things I really enjoy. It was a fantasy, which I've never been a huge fantasy person. A lot of it was rooted in mythology, which I didn't like growing up, but I'm learning to get into more. It dabbled in dark academia, which I really love. It was a mystery and certainly a thriller at times, which I loved. And most importantly, it dabbled in my favorite subgenre of a haunted house trope. I never know how to like word that, but I love the haunted house thing, and it certainly dealt with that and a lot of philosophy behind like our relationship with the things around us, both in nature and man-made, and it was just absolutely fascinating. I think I looked up a lot of reviews afterwards, and it seems like most people absolutely loved it, and then every once in a while I'd see one about somebody that didn't like it, and it was usually because of the pacing. They just thought it was a little boring, which is hilarious to me if you've just seen me reading it. Like, I could not turn the pages fast enough, and it was exactly what I needed. I needed something that was fast-paced, that I wanted to tear through, that hopefully, you know, will set me in a course to keep reading and get into something else. So I decided to stick with that kind of genre kind of vibe, and I grabbed Where did it go? I grabbed The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. I remember that I talked about this in one of my haul videos, that I was so excited when I bought it, and then, like I usually do, I sat it down on the shelf and I didn't pick it back up. So I'm really excited to get into this. I am about 40 pages in. I started it last night as soon as I finished Piranesi, and I'm really liking it so far. It's reminding me a lot of The Silent Patient, which I loved and was one of my top 5 reads, I think, of last year. I absolutely love The Silent Patient. And then it also reminds me of The Only One Left by Riley Sager, that I also enjoyed last year. It's got some haunted house vibes and deals with a woman who has decided to go silent after a murder is committed, or at least that's what we think so far. I'm not totally sure, so I'm hopeful that I'll really like this, since those topics I just read last year in 2 books that I really enjoyed as well. Finishing Piranesi makes it 7 out of 90 done so far. It is the middle of March, so I'm definitely well behind where I would like to be, but I'm getting it done, and that was what was important to me this year. Isn't necessarily how many books I read, but that I'm just focused on my goal and not buying books, which, by the way, I think I've only bought 1 book since the beginning of the year, so I'm doing well on that end of the goal as well. So we're moving. I'm trying not to lose hope and trying not to just like save face. But yeah, my first 5-star of the year. I'm so excited. Thank you, Sam, as always.